Hey everyone, I'm Scott Stokely, and this is the putting portion of my training camp as I prepare for the 2022 season. Now, before I begin, I'm putting with the Berg next year, my Tour Series Berg, available January 1st for retail, January 8th for wholesale. Go to scottstokely.net, get on the mailing list, and you'll be sent a link when they drop as to where to purchase them. So here's what this is going to look like. 30,000 putts in 60 days. 2 days of putting on, 1 day of putting off, which means 750 putts per day, 2 days in a row, a day of recovery. Now, to get to this point, if you followed me, you've seen I spent about 6 months, 8 hours a week in the gym, radical change in my diet, cardio, working with Disc Golf Strong, everything I needed to do to put my 52-year-old body in position to be able to handle this training, because I'm not just putting, I'm throwing also, but I think I'm ready to go. So here's what it's going to look like. I'm breaking the putts into different distances. Every single putting day, I'm doing 250 putts from 20 feet, 200 putts from 25 feet, 150 putts from 30 feet, 100 putts from 35 feet, and 50 putts from 40 feet. Even at the highest level, the game takes place inside the circle, and circle 2 putts take place just outside of the circle. It's not about long putts. I'm not going to throw a single practice putt from 60 feet in the next 2 months. That's what I'm going to be doing. Now, I also have to play different winds. So I am setting this up, and I'll do a little fancy drawing here. This is the extent of my artistic ability, that basket right there. But basically, I'm going to be putting those putts broken into 8 different directions. So whichever way the wind's blowing, let's say it's blowing this direction, I'll have an 1/8 of my putts with a tailwind, 1/8 of a putts with a headwind, left to right, right to left, and then a hybrid between the two. 20 feet, 25, 30, 35, 40. I'm not going to be too specific about how many go from each spot, as long as I split them up pretty well. And by the way, if I have a right to left 20-mile-an-hour wind from 40 feet, I'm going to practice laying up those 50 putts. I won't be going for those. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Now, there's different approaches to how you practice putt. There's no way you could possibly argue against the idea of doing in practice what you do in tournaments, right? Practice what you're going to compete with. You step up, you line up, you go through your routine, you do everything identical. I do not disagree with that approach. However, there is a point of diminishing return when you're trying to do 750 putts a day, and that is, I can't spend 6 hours a day putting. I need to keep my routine down under 2 hours. So I'm opting for a slightly less effective training approach, but I'm gonna get 3 times as many putts in the same amount of time. So, you know, there's a trade-off. I'm opting for this. I feel for me, after doing this for 40-something years, it's less important that I put myself in tournament conditions. I know what tournaments look like. I'm not gonna get nervous. I'm not gonna freak out. So I'm less concerned. I'm more concerned with reps. So my repetition putts will look like this. I will get into my stance, but I'll be doing 5 discs at a time. Everything then is about repeating the motion. And again, please don't post how I'm saying don't practice the way you're going to compete in tournaments. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. I'm saying for me, more reps outweighs that benefit. Now, towards the end, as I get close to tournament time, I will be trying to replicate tournament situations. I'll step up to putts with the tournament on the line. I'll step up to a putt knowing if I make this putt, I'll beat so-and-so. So of course I got to visualize and put myself in those positions, but it's going to be a minority of the time for me. So that's what 30,000 putts looks like in 60 days. I am charting all these. Thank you, Adriana. She's actually tracking and counting all of these putts. I'm going to put them all on a spreadsheet. And at the end of 60 days, let's see how much gain I've had. I haven't really practiced putted in several decades. Not really. So I believe that if I actually practice my putt and just don't go to tournaments, that's a few strokes around. That's going to be the difference. The 4 on the ground is because the basket was filled. I made all those.